The Discovery.
The morning of June 12, 1962, a guard walked the cold corridor to begin the routine morning count inside Alcatraz prison. He stopped at cell 138 and saw a sleeping shape under the blanket, calm as it looked every single morning. He reached to wake the sleeping man, but something about the scene made him hesitate for one strange second. The fake plaster head, made with real human hair, dropped to the floor as the guard realized the cell was empty. Alarms echoed across the entire island as red lights suddenly lit up the darkened prison corridors.
In his office, the warden gripped the phone with a trembling hand, staring at the bay map on the wall. From above, Alcatraz Island sat alone inside thick fog, surrounded by turbulent waters that showed no mercy. The tower guard swept his searchlight across the water's surface, searching desperately for any trace at all. At the printing press, the shocking headline rolled out, "Escape from the Rock," spreading across all of America. Investigators arrived by boat at the island dock, beginning what would become America's biggest prison investigation ever.
The Rock. Known as the Rock, Alcatraz was an isolated stone fortress surrounded by the bay's freezing, restless waters. The currents around the island were among the most violent in the region, making a swimming escape nearly suicidal. Alcatraz held America's most dangerous criminals, locked in narrow cells barely 5 square meters in size. A brutal, unforgiving discipline governed the prison, guards watching every move with rifles ready at any moment. Among these inmates stood a man named Frank Morris, whose sharp intelligence let him see what no one else could.
Morris noticed the small vent behind his cell and began seeing it as a secret door toward freedom itself. In the exercise yard, brothers John and Clarence Anglin shared a silent glance, both carrying the very same dream. The 3 men gathered in a dark corner, whispering a plan no one had ever succeeded with in the prison's history. Morris hung a small calendar and began crossing off days, for the plan would demand months of relentless patience. With his own hands, Morris sketched an early route map on a scrap of paper, then hid it with extreme care.
The plan. The 3 men began sharpening spoons stolen from the kitchen, turning them into crude but effective digging tools. An inmate played the accordion loudly at set hours, masking the sound of the secret digging happening nearby. Every night, concrete crumbs fell silently around the vent hole, the plan advancing centimeter by slow centimeter. Morris hid the leftover concrete dust in his pockets, scattering it quietly in the yard without drawing any attention. The hole widened bit by bit until it became just large enough for a full-grown man's body to pass through. The 3 built a fake cardboard grill, painted matching gray, perfectly concealing the real opening behind it. The inmates gathered over 50 stolen raincoats, hiding them under bunks in preparation for the next crucial phase. They sewed the raincoats together using dental floss thread, forming a raft frame that might carry them across the dangerous bay. They heated rubber cement over hot steam pipes to seal every seam of the raft tightly against the water. They sculpted heads resembling their own faces from soap, plaster dust, and paint, with detail precise enough to fool a trained eye. Tools and digging. They obtained real human hair from the prison barbershop, gluing it onto the fake head to make it look completely real. They placed the fake head on a pillow in dim light, testing whether it could fool a guard's passing glance at night. The 3 set the night of June 11 as their final date, after long months of silent, meticulous preparation. Meanwhile, their 4th companion, Alan West, struggled with his own hole, which still hadn't widened enough in time. On the final night, every tool was arranged: raft, paddles, life vests, and fake heads, ready for the decisive moment. Morris built a crude drill from a stolen vacuum motor, speeding up the painfully slow digging process significantly. Behind the wall stretched a narrow corridor, completely hidden from guards, leading directly toward the building's rooftop. Morris climbed the cold iron pipe through total darkness, ignoring his fear and the pain in his cracked hands.
They found a rusted rooftop hatch that guards had failed to properly seal for many long years already. They used a makeshift periscope to watch guard movements, memorizing every patrol schedule by heart over time.
Morris secretly recorded patrol timings inside a hollowed-out book, ensuring perfect timing for the decisive moment ahead. They watched the weather through a small window, choosing a calm water night to reduce the risk of drowning. They tested life vests made from raincoat sleeves in a water basin to confirm they would actually float. They carved wooden paddles by hand and hid them beneath their bunks, ready for the final crossing moment. In the darkness, the three men exchanged one final silent nod. The time to act had finally arrived.
Night of escape.
At 9:30 p.m. on June 11, the lights went out, and a heavy silence fell over the entire island. They arranged the fake heads on the pillows with extreme care, shaping blankets to mimic a sleeping body perfectly. Morris forced his body through the narrow opening, his heart pounding violently in that single decisive moment. The Anglin brothers followed one after another through the back corridor, exchanging silent hand signals between them. Alan West got stuck at his still too narrow opening, left behind his companions for the very first time. The three men climbed the narrow pipe shaft toward the roof, muscles straining and breath held tight. They emerged onto the rooftop under a starless, fog-covered sky, cold, biting wind striking their faces at once. They slid down a drainage pipe to the ground, hiding among the dark shadows of the prison yard below. They crossed the prison yard in total silence, hugging the fence line, terrified of the searchlight's beam. They reached the rocky shoreline, where waves crashed against dark stones, the cold cutting straight to their bones.
They inflated the raincoat raft using a modified accordion pump, working in urgent, silent effort together. Alan West watched from the rooftop as his friends sailed off without him, his eyes carrying despair he'd never forget. The three pushed the raft into the Black Bay water, taking their first strokes toward the unknown ahead. The raft slowly vanished into thick fog, the lights of San Francisco glowing faintly somewhere in the distance. At dawn, only the empty pipe shaft remained on the rooftop, the last trace proving they had ever been there.
The Manhunt. The guard discovered the fake heads during morning count, shock frozen on his face for several long moments. Coast Guard boats raced across the bay, searchlights sweeping the dark water in search of any trace of survival. FBI agents examined the empty cell, photographing the fake grill and dummy head with extreme forensic precision. Helicopters circled above the bay, while search planes scanned the coastline for any sign of a buy or survival. A single wooden paddle washed ashore near Angel Island, the first physical clue to their mysterious fate. A torn piece of the raincoat raft was found tangled among rocks along the nearby shoreline stretch. A rubber-sealed wallet containing photos and names was found floating near the bay, raising an entirely new question. Investigators pinned maps and photographs to a large caseboard, in exhausting work that would last for years. Years passed, and no body was ever recovered, the case growing cold despite the massive scale of the investigation. In 1979, the official file was stamped "Case Closed, Presumed Drowned." Yet the mystery itself stayed alive. The Eternum Mystery. The U.S. Marshal's Office reopened the file decades later, convinced the story hadn't truly ended after all. An old postcard with faded handwriting surfaced, some claiming it had been sent by one of the three escapees. A faded 1975 photograph of two men closely resembling the Anglin brothers surfaced, sparking widespread public debate. In 2013, a handwritten letter arrived signed John Anglin, claiming that he was still alive after all these years. Forensic experts analyzed the ink and handwriting under bright lights, but the results came back completely inconclusive.
Ocean current maps revealed that survival that particular night was possible, though the odds remained extremely slim. To this day, no grave bears any of their names, and no body has ever confirmed their true final fate. In one unconfirmed account, an old man is said to walk alone on a distant shore, his face always hidden from view. An empty raincoat raft rocks gently on an unnamed shore,
waves slowly receding behind it in total heavy silence. More than 60 years later, the same question remains unanswered. Did they truly drown, or are they still alive somewhere?